Hey friends, how's it going? Mars and I, we're late because we were literally just back here in the back room, backstage, just dancing,
Just dancing, shooting
and
the shit,
shooting the
talking
shit.
about things that we should be talking about when the camera is on.
Yeah. So if you thought we were ridiculous on stage or like ridiculous here, like we filter ourselves sometimes for the people out there because
But there's a reason we're doing a late night show today, kiddies.
there is. So you may want to make sure that the kids are in bed, unless we're, maybe they're godparents and we're babysitting. So otherwise, like, hey kids, we're your comic book dads. Happy
We're your
Father's
dad
Day.
now. Happy
We're your
Father's
dads
Day.
now.
And happy Comic Book Church Day. It's a late
Happy
night church viewing.
It is. It is. It feels like a special occasion. I want to go ahead and say hello to a couple of the people in chat right now, who I'm so thankful are here. Hello to Travis. Thank you for being here, friend. TM Nerdy, and that comic girl. Howdy, friends. And then hello to our friend Josue. Howdy, friend.
We love
And then-
Josue.
Oh, we do love Josue. And we've also got another one of our loves here, V. Read Across the Stars. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that our late night show you can show up to. Also, I love the RATS acronym. So Read Across the Stars, RATS. I love it. And then one of my favorite comic book YouTube dads, it's John. John's Comics with Kids. Thank you for being
John
here.
is also all of our dads now, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
Congrats, John.
Sorry, John.
Happy Father's Day.
I don't make the rules. That's just how it is. And then hello to Julie. Thank you for being here. And then hello. And then hello to Scott. I don't think you're a dad, but happy Father's Day. Anyways, if you are, you're not, I'm not sure. To anyone who's a dad. Hello to Bobby. Thank you for being here. You made it to church. Hello to Chris. Thank you for being here. Yo, yo. And then copy 801. Hello. Did I miss? Oh, I thought I missed someone.
I saw Chaos in the chat. Chaos and Comics.
There you are. And
which,
then I think,
by the way, friend, because you have been #rallying bring back the Venom shirt, Venom is back for Father's Day because he is also all of our daddies now.
He is also all of our daddies, and that was something that we'll be talking about a little bit later. Is this? Did you read it? Did you read?
Do I look like I read Venom? I say while wearing a Venom shirt? Absolutely not.
I 100% because I don't really. I mean, like I read all the King in Black stuff, which was cool, and then I read.
I'm not a fake fan. No, never.
Well, just can I tell you how many people wear like Marvel shirts and shit and don't read like any comics? I mean, I could get into that, but hello, Cantonese Comic Kid. Oh man. The childcare costs are going up. And I've got.
But you can claim us all on your child tax credit, so it's okay. Stimmies all around.
You got to spend money to make money, and you got to make money to spend money, and you've got to spend money to save money. That's what I always say. Mm-hmm. Whenever my partner's like, "How much did you spend at the comic book store this week, today?"
And I'm like, "Talk about it."
I'm like, you gotta spend money to save money, and I'm saving a lot of money, so. There you go. Chris, my son and I read comics at the diner. Read comics at the diner today. He read Star Wars, and you read Batman Earth Volume 1. That's very cool. Venom Returns. Oh goodness. Sorry. And then hello to Super Russ. Thank you for being here. So close to 1,000. Rom V will write, so maybe you will in the future. That is pretty much the only reason why I picked this up is because Al Ewing and Rom V about to write it, and I feel like this would be a great wrapping up point, and maybe even a good jumping on point for whatever's about to happen next. And then, Unruly Simeon driving. I'll make sure not to.
Please stay safe.
Yeah. I feel like I want to talk to you, so if you can hear my voice, drive safe. I hope you're wearing a seatbelt. Keep your eyes on the road, buddy. Wonderful. So I'll say hello. I hope I didn't miss anyone, but I'll go ahead and say hello to everyone in the chat as you pop in. So be sure to go ahead and give a howdy, friends, on your way in. Maybe a
#howdy.
#howdy. Wonderful. So this is kind of why we want. I mean, there's a couple of reasons why we wanted to do a late night show. Early this morning, I didn't even get a chance to tell you earlier this morning, I had like a little power slip. I guess because it's supposed to be like 100 degrees here tomorrow, and of course everyone has their ACs on, and I'm one of those people. So I had a power thing this morning, so I'm glad.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and then hello to Sheena, one of our friends. Oh, love you so much, Sheena. Thank you for being here. So yeah, I'm glad that we didn't do a show this morning, but one of the reasons why we wanted to maybe like keep it a little bit later at night was because we have some really filthy things to talk about. So if you're watching now, you're watching on the rewind.
This is the time where you tuck the kitties into bed, guys.
Yeah, it may be 3:00 here on the West Coast, but if you've never watched the show, this show is not for children, except for the children that we're babysitting. Happy Father's Day. We're your dads.
Happy Father's Day.
So the real thing that we want to really, because we are, Mars, I hope you agree with this, is that we are real comic book journalism professionals.
100%.
There's a pretty big topic in the comic book community right now, and I think that we really need to weigh in on this because it's a really heavy subject.
I think our opinions are really the only ones that matter.
You're right, and I have a feeling that our opinions are going to be divided. The question at hand, for anyone who has not been in the loop, is, does Batman eat pussy? You know what? I didn't.
I was preparing for that, but hearing you just flat out say it, I'm composed. I am an adult. I am a serious comic book journalist. But yes, the question is, because I feel like it's only fair for both of us to say it.
Yeah.
Does Batman eat pussy?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm putting a little banner up. So just in case anyone walks in to hear. I'm gonna just go ahead and kind of keep it light. So So
Scott is saying this is the first I've heard of this. So let us kind of recap why this conversation came about.
I'm so sorry that I've failed you because you actually messaged me, like I was FaceTiming a friend, and all of a sudden I get a text from Mars, and it says something along the lines of, "Holy shit, Jen, they won't let Batman eat pussy, or they won't let Batman eat out Catwoman."
Let's pull up the receipts. Let's pull up the actual receipts. Hold on.
This is what it's like being in this
to be in our brain.
Mm-hmm.
To be in our brain, the actual conversation went like this. Oh my God. Jen, Batman is not allowed to eat pussy. That is the text. Yeah. So the reason why this whole text came about is Harley Quinn, the animated series on HBO, is known to be a little filthy and a little raunchy. Listen, if you haven't watched this show as a not Harley Quinn fan, please watch it though, because it's actually kind of fucking hilarious. So apparently there is a scene in the 4th season that is supposed to depict Batman going down on Catwoman, as a normal hero should, as a normal person should. And the studio execs or somebody at DC or Warner Brothers told the directive team that they needed to pull the scene because, quote, unquote, heroes don't do that.
Heroes don't do that.
So today's show, kiddos, we're going to go into depth of who does it and who does not. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think that the DC execs were on the head with that one. Batman does not eat pussy. He is a dick.
I agree. Okay, see, here I was thinking that you were maybe even going to defend Selena.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
I really, truly don't think that
Listen,
Batman...
I have no... Listen, okay? Are we going full... Excuse my French, balls to the wall today? I have no idea why Selena Kyle is still with somebody like Batman. The dick must be so bomb that she is staying with him. Because I can tell you right now, he does not do foreplay. He does not put out when she wants it. It's only when he wants it, when it's convenient for her. And he gets up and leaves during the middle of the night. Calling it right now. Sorry if I just crushed your hopes and dreams, guys. Batman does not. I don't care if Zack Snyder says it's canon. I'm sorry. A personal fan commission does not give me the proof I need.
Can I just say about, maybe this is just my perspective, and maybe I don't wish that I had a picture of that. So basically Twitter was, Batman was trending on Twitter, and then subsequently, like the rest of social media, social media land world, because everyone was talking about, does Batman do that? And so, let's be honest. I think that the fact that heroes don't do that is the best villain origin story ever. Because if heroes don't do that, like, that's my villain origin.
That's why we have
folks.
scumbag boyfriend armies.
That's why we do have scumbag boyfriend army. And I have a thing for villains, folks.
And I think my favorite thing about this whole conversation, because like I said, we will talk about who does and who doesn't, I guess, and kind of have fun with that. But I think my favorite thing to come from this Batman conversation of does he or does he not is the infamous Jason Todd quote that says, Jason Todd does what Batman can't. It gives it a whole nother meaning, boys and girls.
I'll be honest. I feel like this has been the first time that I've really deeply and truly wanted to read Batman in a really long time, to try to like figure it out and be like, where's my context clues? Like, where can I find evidence of Batman doing this, other characters doing this? But I will die on the hill that Batman is not a good of a hero.
He's not a great hero. I mean, he never has been.
But Batwoman is better. And
Batwoman is definitely better because we definitely know. If heroes don't do that, then I guess Batwoman is not a hero. Because we know she definitely does. Lex, can we just have definitive proof? Yeah. You said you want definitive proof, right? Mm-hmm. There's a little character out there who's just happens to be one of my favorites and my personal husband in comics, by the name of Oliver Queen, aka Green Arrow. And I believe it is an issue. I'm going to pull out numbers. I believe it's issue 6 or 7 of the Kevin Smith Green Arrow run. Actually, it might be issue 4 because it's in a flashback scene. Green Arrow flat out goes down on Black Canary. Not once, ladies and gentlemen, but twice. And I used to think that the scene, while I kind of enjoyed it, was a little cringy. Now, with this whole conversation, I appreciate it. And it is art. Because it is canonical that Green Arrow eats pussy.
I love it, folks.
I
actually went and read that one. It is a little bit of like a cringy.
It is a little bit of a cringe moment. Absolutely.
The next like panel or the next scene after that is like there's domestic violence or something happens. Like someone gets, I don't know. It was a weird moment. It was
a very weird moment.
Yeah. So, this has been the conversation that I've been like dreaming of having all week. So maybe we'll get into that one a little bit later, because I know that this week was like...
We had a good week this week for comics.
This was a huge, granted, my pile, I feel like, normally looks like this, but I actually read the majority of my books, and I actually liked the majority of my books this week. What did everyone else read and like?
Can I get a round of applause? Because I read every single book that I picked up this week.
Oh, wow.
I finally did it. Usually there's like one or two that slip through the cracks. I've read every single one. And granted, my pool isn't nearly as big as Jen's pool because, as we know, Jen is the queen of dumb bitch money and insanity. But
you rivaled me
I'm pretty
this
proud.
Week.
I did rival you this week, and we'll get more into that later on in the show. But yes, It was a very good week for comics. We got to see some endings. We got to see a bunch of number ones this week, some continuations of series that I know that we both are a big fan of. So let's get into why we're here, guys, and let's talk about the comics. So, are there any books that you want to start off the day with, Jen?
You know, there is one that I want to start the day off with, and it's because it's literally my favorite. Normally, I want to like wait till the end to talk about my favorites, but I'm going to talk about this one because I really, really like it, and it's one of my favorite books right now. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead and do this really quick. I'm going to put a different
A different ticker bar.
Yeah. So my favorite book out right now it's absolutely no secret. It's The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. And seriously, this book just gets so good, and reading this month by month is excruciating because I have to wait month to month to read this. But I couldn't imagine reading it in trade form, like with single issues. It's so beautiful. And premise of the story, this young woman is actually the god of death. She ends up losing her job, gets kicked out of heaven or wherever. This is Indian mythology, so it's a little bit different. And she loses her job because there's a kid who is born who's going to invent immortality or cure mortality, whatever it may be. And so she loses her job because of this kid. So then she ends up going to Earth, gets put into a body. She tries to kill him, kind of fucks up, and each time she kind of fucks up, she dies. Any spoiler alert. But anyways, you can see here that she's smoking a cigarette, and this entire issue is told from the point of view of the cigarette, and it is just absolutely like beautiful. I do not condone smoking whatsoever, but
that's an interesting take, is that it's from the perspective
yeah.
of the cigarette. And that is just something that I love about Ram V, is it feels like he's always finding a way to break the mold and to kind of think outside of the box. And that's like something that, you know, we haven't, I can't think of any books off the top of my head that have done something like that, but I'm sure it exists.
And it's beautiful because at first, if you don't realize what's going on, there maybe on like the third or fourth page, you do realize what's going on. But then the cigarette's like in this internal cigarette monologue, as one internal monologue happens, is like, I was kissed by death, and so then that brought me to life. And so it was beautiful.
That's a good line. That's all right. I'm kind of upset that I'm reading this by trade now. Now I want to go back and find issues 2 and 3.
Yeah. This book is great. It's a 5-issue series, and so it's
crazy to think we're already on 3. I feel like issue 1 just came out.
It did. So I'm really sad, but I love this. I love this series so much. So that by far was my favorite book of the week. Yeah. So that was just one that I knew that I wanted to talk about.
Of course.
Any books that of course there's books you want to talk about. What books do you want to talk
about? I'm not going to pick my favorite one just yet, because I threw into the chat a little game to guess, because I told Jen backstage that I had a book of the week that was my favorite, and she might be a little upset with me about it. So I've thrown it into the chat to see if anybody can guess what Mars's favorite book of the week, and everybody's saying Nightwing. So I
have a guess.
You have a guess.
I have, and can I choose 2 that I think it's going to be?
Now she's trying to narrow down choices.
Well, because at first I thought it was 1, and then I'm like, wait, it might be this other one. And I don't even know where I put it. Okay, so I have a feeling that it's going to be one of these 2, so correct me if I'm wrong. It's either a first issue or a last issue.
It is a first issue.
Is it Supergirl?
It might be Supergirl.
I knew it. Okay, see, because at first I thought it was Luna, and then I'm like, you know what? Supergirl was actually like, I did not hate this book. Okay, so tell me why.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about Supergirl. So I went into this book. This was the last book that I read. Okay, that's a lie, because I read Luna as the last book I read this week. This was the last book that I read this week, and I'm laying here Sunday morning, post breakfast, post coffee, and I'm like, you know what? I got to read this book. And I was not looking forward to reading this book, because right now, Tom King, listen, I love Tom King. I am the Tom King #1 fan club here, right alongside Yara Floor fan club. I am the president of both clubs. Tom, if you're watching, because of course you are, I love you to bitty pieces, dude. I fucking love you to death. So,
I have alternating feelings, but
I have not alternating. That's a good Tom King pun. I really like that and I appreciate that. Look at that. I have not been a fan of the two most recent Tom King books, being Batman and Catwoman, which I believe might be one of the worst things I've ever read, and Strange Adventures. And Strange Adventures, while I don't hate it, I definitely don't like the alternating dimensions, and it's kind of confusing. I was real worried going to this we were going to get the same. And upon opening the book, I groaned really loud because I was like, shit, this is a really dense book, and I'm not here for this right now. This book does start off very dense for the first, 2 or 3 pages, and that's because it is setting up a story. Now, let me preface, I am not a fan of Supergirl. Listen, in the Power Girl versus Supergirl argument, I will pick Power Girl all day, every day, 365. That is my home girl. I love Power Girl, and I hate Supergirl. I think she is boring. I think she is too bland. I'm sorry. I think she's boring. I think she is too bland. I don't think she has much of a personality, and I feel like she's just there for the sake of being there. So again, I had multiple strikes against this book. This book surprised me so much, and honestly, can I be honest with you? It feels like a Red. Can I be honest with you? It feels like a Red Sonja book.
Oh, wow.
It feels like a Red Sonja, Swords and Sorcery book, which I really, really, really enjoyed. So the premise of this book, for those of you that don't know or maybe want to know and need some incentivization of reading it, it follows this young girl who is a warrior on her planet, and her father is killed in some type of match. And she wants something happens where her father dies, and it's some evil guy who has killed her or killed him. And listen, she wants revenge. It's Father's Day. You kill my dad, I want some revenge. So she goes out on her own, and she's trying to hire the best warrior in the universe to help her track down this guy and murder him and get revenge for her dad. She goes to a bar. She finds a guy, and the guy's kind of a dick. So Supergirl steps in. They have a little bit of fight. The girl realizes that Supergirl is superior and asks Supergirl, will you be my champion, basically? Will you be my champion? Will you let me hire you to track down the person that murdered my father? Now, Supergirl is on this planet celebrating her 21st birthday. She is a little drunk. She is a little angry. She's badass in this issue. She's absolutely badass. I love her in this. She's witty. She's charming. I think that they make a point of her saying shit multiple times, and I feel like that's going to be the long...
saying fuck.
Maybe it's fuck. Maybe it's shit. But I feel like that's going to be the long-running joke throughout the entire series, and I hope it is, because this is an 8-issue miniseries. And it's just... I really like these characters together. I really like the chemistry together. Listen, Mr. King, you are watching this. It is Pride Month. Let Supergirl have a girlfriend.
Make them gay, you cowards.
Please, make them gay, you cowards. Let Supergirl have a girlfriend. I don't know. I really, really like this book. I had a really fun time with it. This is the first Tom King book that I have read in a while that does not have a wacky time jump or a wacky back and forth. It is just a straightforward story. I hope it stays that way. And Bilquis Isley, who does the art, oh my God, her art in this book is absolutely stunning. Listen, please read this book. If you don't like Supergirl, I don't give a shit. Check this book out. Read it. Hopefully you enjoy it. But this is a good book. I loved this book. Jen, what did you think about Supergirl?
So pretty much all of the things that you just said. I'm not a huge fan of Supergirl. Maybe briefly watched some of the show. And then that's maybe about it. However, I did recently pick up Supergirl Being Super by Mariko Tamaki and Joelle Jones. So I did recently pick this up and read maybe a third of the way through. But it's weird because in this one, this is the first issue that came out this week. It's apparently Supergirl's 21st birthday. And so she says something about going and getting ice cream. In this book, it literally starts out with it being her birthday and eating ice cream. So I'm like, did Tom steal that on purpose? Was there a nod to it?
I could see there being a nod, especially because Joelle worked on it and him and Joelle have worked together. I could definitely see that being a nod.
That definitely, that makes sense. This one is definitely more about, this one here is more about Supergirl being a younger girl, where this one feels like she just turned 21, so she's like going to this bar and having a drink, and I really like that it's bringing about it feels like this mythology around the character. I I do think that the artwork outshined the writing. Um, Granted, that's because of Bilquis Ively.
Mm-hmm.
Her artwork is just
Oh, it's
incredible, and
gorgeous.
it they did some work. She did some work for one of the Sandman universe books recently, and it made me feel like I was in that world as opposed to whatever world this is in. So like I said, I'm really excited to see like the mythology on this world and to see that like world building, I guess. However, there is a moment in here where there, I don't know, maybe cover your ears if you don't want some tragedy. So we get to briefly see Crypto Puppy.
It's a John Wick situation, y'all. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Thank you. It's a John Wick situation, and so that infuriated me. But it's also my fuel to keep reading. So whatever that may be, yeah, I will actually be picking this up. I don't think I was going to pick it up. And my friend, one of my friends from high school messaged me and asked me if I had read it, or if I was going to pick it up. And I'm like, I'm not sure. And he was kind of unsure too. And then he said to me that it sounds like True Grit, or that it felt like True Grit. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try it.
Yeah,
so
it definitely has it does have a True Grit vibe to it. I just listen. I know I've been asking DC Comics for this change and for this this every book feeling different finally, and we're finally getting that. But listen, y'all, DC Comics is coming for my wallet right now. I have so many DC titles on my pull list. It finally feels like when I first started reading DC, where it's like I had everything. So, like, I have Nightwing, I have Wonder Woman, I have Robin, Titans Academy, Supergirl, Strange Adventures for some god-awful reason, Batman, Catwoman for some awful reason. Listen, Tom King, now's your chance. You know what you need to do with that book to redeem not only Batman, but your book. A whole issue dedicated to that. Anyway.
Can you just tell it from the perspective of Catwoman's pussy? Sorry, I went there, folks.
That was great. Anyway, DC's doing some really fantastic things. And I didn't know, there were two books I wanted to talk about. And I guess this is a good time to kind of segue into that, maybe?
Time.
Segue
Are we
time.
talking about another DC book?
The two titles that they announced coming up for September. Yes. I feel like it's a good time because they're doing some really great stuff. So DC Solicitations came out this week. And while I'm not going to go through everything, there were two titles in particular that I'm really excited about that I want you guys to be really excited about. So the first one is I feel like it was written for me. I feel like our show made it happen. I feel like that's what happened. We are getting a King Shark book, y'all. My son is getting a whole ass book of just Shark Boy going rah, rah, rah. And I'm very freaking excited about that. But the book that I'm actually even more excited for, and it's a book that me and Jen had talked about backstage. And again, this brings in that whole DC is finally making different books, and every book is not feeling the same. We are getting a oversized one-shot anthology series called Are You Afraid of Darkseid? And it is supposed to be stories told from the perspectives of, I'm assuming, some of the younger characters about how scary and how terrifying Darkseid is. And can I be honest with you? That just sounds really fucking cool. It's a book that I want to read. I'm so excited to read, but I would never think of. So whoever at DC Comics brainstormed that idea, listen, give them 20 more books because I want more fun shit like that. Are You Afraid of Darkseid? Like, that is the coolest shit ever.
That sounds perfect, and I feel like it speaks to the 90s child that I was. I was born in the 80s, but I was like really a child growing up in the 90s, so it speaks to that, like, are you afraid of the dark? Like, I feel like back in an age where stories were told around those environments and like those urban legend type things, as opposed to like kids these days with their digital technology. I'm not going to be one of those people. But Chris here says that King Shark is being written by Tim Seeley, who created Hack Slash. He has like a whole podcast dedicated where someone you know has been on it. So check that out. But do you know who the writer is for the Who is Afraid of Darkseid? Are You Afraid of Darkseid?
I do not, because I think it's multiple people, because I believe it's an anthology, because it is one of those oversized $9.99s.
Oh,
I want to assume that it's going to be an anthology.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So I was going to say, I'd really like to see my favorite writer being like a part of that. I would love to see Rom V writing a story about Darkseid.
And give us the most horrifying, horror-filled, creepy-tastic Darkseid story ever.
Like maybe like if Swamp Thing was dreaming about Darkseid or something like that. I would love to see. There's my pitch. DC,
is that your pitch?
So, so I'm also here once again. You know, I've said it for a little over, over a year now about how I do want to write, because we've got Batman Year 1, Batman Year 100. We need Batman Year 18, Barely Legal, and this week, seeing everyone being horny on Maine for whatever Batman content you're looking for, I'm telling you that I'm here to write it. I'm here to write it and, you know, give the people what they want. I've been thinking for a while revamping my Patreon because I've been a little bit lack on there. So like, should I put like Batman
your Batman fan fiction on Patreon?
On Patreon?
Absolutely.
Like, is that what you folks need? Because I'm here to write it. So let me know if you want short stories and I will be here to give it to you.
I think we need it.
Yeah. Alrighty. So we've got King Shark, that just sounds really cool. That one's a one shot as well, or? I
believe so. Okay. I didn't really look. I just saw King Shark. I blanked. I was excited, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. Got it. I'm gonna have to look this up. Yes, Jennifer. Pitched hit for the podcast for a few episodes. Yeah. I feel like I'm not that good at podcasts because I feel like I have to watch my mouth. So, anyways, so there were a couple other DC books. Did you read any of the other ones?
I did. There were a couple other ones. Why don't we'll just kind of, because I feel like this will be a quick and easy, and that is Nightwing number 81. Listen, y'all, again, first of all, this cover is absolutely gorgeous. Make Nightwing gay. I don't know what else you want to hear from me. Anyway, pan.
Yeah, I want to
or bi or whatever. Just make them all. I don't care. I am choosing violence this month. Okay. This continues to be one of my absolute favorite books on the planet. Tom Taylor needs to just write every DC comic character in existence at this point because everything is so fun. It's so fluid. Again, this book continues to be like a love letter to Matt Fraction's Hawkeye. So if you're not reading this book, I don't know what to tell you. This book also has just some of the coolest action sequences like I've ever read in a mainline superhero title. Like, it's just the way that Bruno Redondo draws stuff. And like, there's other little simple parts where, you know, Nightwing is he's breaking into a room or something like that, and he, you know, circulates his little screama stick and cuts it out. But it's the way that it's drawn where it kind of looks like an informational guideline that I just think it's really interesting. And again, reminds me of Matt Fraction's, you know, and David Aja's Hawkeye. Not only that, but Nightwing 81, sorry, I had to look at the number. Hi, friends. I'm here to tell you guys, Nightwing 81 is just fantastic. However, Nightwing 81, without completely spoiling it, drops an absolute fucking bomb. And Jen is back. I was just talking about the absolute bomb without spoiling it. But can you agree that Nightwing 81 drops an absolute bomb on its final page that I think is going to change the structure of Batman lore as we know it?
Yes, 100%. I feel like I just had to look at it again.
It's crazy. I literally dropped the book and was like, excuse me, what?
So I don't know what to say without spoiling it because it is pretty big and it's definitely one of those. I love that. Is it a trope? Is there maybe a name for one of those tropes where it's like is this person good or bad? Like, I remember when I was younger and reading Harry Potter and thinking about Snape, like, is Snape good or is Snape bad? And, you know, so I
There's
feel like
probably a word for it.
there's a character in here that is revealed, well, they still might be bad, but maybe they're good. And like, so there's just that really interesting dynamic. And you're right, it happens like right at the end. So I do agree.
It's a great book.
You know, you were mentioning that you really liked the action sequences in it. I really like the like maybe quiet moments of conversation. And one of them here is because, spoiler alert, Robin shows up in this issue. And so Robin is here, and Nightwing he just got a concussion because he just got the shit beat out of him, basically. And so Robin, Barbara Gordon, and Nightwing are all sitting on the couch, and then we see the dog that they adopted, and Robin calls the dog Bite Wing instead of Nightwing, and they're like, we can call him that, even though it's a really good name. Well, he can have more than two names. No, he can't. And then it's like, well, we all have more than one name here. And then Barbara Gordon is like, I actually have three names. So I just thought that was really cute. And then,
and I love Barbara's t-shirts.
Yeah. If you can see here, she's wearing the meme where Batman slaps Robin. So,
it's pretty great. And like, we saw a Black Canary t-shirt at one point, and I can't remember what the other one was, but it's just like the minor attention to detail that I absolutely love. And listen, I need Bruno Redondo on like 3 other books. His art is fantastic. It is phenomenal. Again, this is my pitch where if you have not read it, please read the Suicide Squad run by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. It is out now in hardcover. The entire series, 11 issues in all, is compiled into one book. There's really not an excuse for you not to read it because it is just a fantastic ride from start to finish.
Mm-hmm. There was another book that came out.
There was another DC book that came out this week. Did you pick this one up? You did not.
If it's Catwoman, then I did not.
I'm thinking of another book because while I did pick up Catwoman, I only pick it up. That is not the book I was thinking of, but I would love for you to talk about it. I still pick up Catwoman, y'all, but can I be honest? I haven't read it since like issue 14. I'm picking it up at the covers for this point, and I'll read it at some point along the way. But please talk about Static #1.
Okay, y'all. If you haven't heard what Static is, there was a DC imprint back in the 90s called Milestone Comics, and it was Black creators basically doing Black comic book carries and Black stories. And whether you loved them or not, I think that we definitely should have had these stories for a long time, but anyways, it got canceled. It's back now. Static, so a couple weeks ago, Milestone Returns came out that had some like shorter stories. So we got to see like an issue 0, but we now get Static back. And I feel like a lot of the big conversations that have really entered into mainstream society about racial injustices and things like that these conversations are happening in here. And I don't want to say, and they're not preachy, because like, fuck that. Like, those things can be preachy 100%. And sometimes we think though, just talking about those things are preachy when it's not. So anyways, this has some really cool like conversations about that in here, and it does it so well with the characters. The creators of Milestone Comics are also noted on the back right here. So Dwayne McDuffie, Dennis Cowan. So it's pretty cool to see that little egg. But I really liked this. I cannot, if this is indicative of how any of the other Milestone comics that are coming back are, like, I can't wait to pick these up.
Because I think next week we have Icon and Rocket.
That sounds right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting. And that book is written by Vita Ayala, who I know is one of our other favorite favorite writers. So again, simple pitch, pick up their other books. Please pick up Submerged, pick up The Wilds.
The Wilds.
The Wilds is so wonderful. If you want a great queer post-apocalyptic story that kind of has some Last of Us inspiration with how the post-apocalypse is, pick that one up. They are definitely on some X-Men titles right now as well. They're on Children of Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Children of Adam. They're just a phenomenal writer, and honestly, they're one of the next big talents out there, and we love Vita so much.
So much. What else? I'm trying to figure out what other DC book that you got.
The other book that I picked up was Truth and Justice #4. We talked about this
because you even said go ahead and go and pick this up, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to this other comic book store this week, and I went there. They didn't have it, so I didn't get to read it, and now I need to hear all about it.
Okay, so this cover is just absolutely gorgeous. My shop didn't have this. Luckily, the other shop I went to this week had it. I'm obsessed. It's gorgeous. I miss Batwoman so much. Listen, and it's during Pride. So Truth and Justice has been an anthology series where each issue tends to follow another comic book character. So the first issue we saw followed Vixen. We saw stories of Jonah Hex and Jason Todd. We saw a Superman story, and it's an anthology story. It's a digital first series that comes out in print. And this month, during Pride Month, ironically, which y'all know DC planned that shit, was the Batwoman story. I have conflicting feelings on this because I want a Batwoman story so bad. But I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you may feel the same way even without reading this, I feel like nothing will ever be able to hold a candle to Greg Rucka and J.H. Williams, because not only was it just, I feel like her storytelling at its finest, but there was a sense of style there, especially with J.H. Williams' art. You know, it really did carry into that gothic feel, and it made Batwoman set out among the rest of the Bat family. They try to do something very similar in this, where they try to give her that kind of gothic rogues gallery feel by sending her to So the moral of the story is Batwoman decides that, she's upset with everything that has happened between her and Maggie. It really does pick up after the events of the failed wedding. Or the failed engagement, I guess. Thanks, Dan Didio. And Batwoman decides to go to Maggie's cabin for a weekend just to clear her head. And the whole issue starts off with her leaving a message to Maggie and being like, I know I'm going without your permission, but I just need to clear my head. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about. If you want to give me a call, I have 1 hour before I lose cell service. Please, if you want to give me a call, great. If you don't, I understand and I respect you. And I love that side of Kate Kane. I really do. That's why she's one of my favorite heroes. And she ends up in this small little podunk town that is a tourist trap for the Mothman, which I think is kind of funny, is that Kate Kane is in a town that is famous for the Mothman. I think that's hilarious.
Is that New Jersey or West Virginia? Right?
West Virginia. It's somewhere down there. But we get to see Kate Kane at her best, where she's hitting on the bartender. We see her going out and about chasing cryptids. There's a beautiful scene where we get to see Kate Kane in, a shitty bar bathroom, the type we've all been in, with graffiti on the walls, changing into her outfit and going out and saving the day. And there's even a show up from Noctara, who was a villain that showed up in the later half of the Batwoman run. And it's kind of a big part of her character. And I feel like is a great villain for her because it's as gothic as Batman rogues villains get, I feel like. I see what this book was trying to do. But again, I feel like my expectations for a Batwoman book are so far up here. Marguerite Bennett's run didn't even hold a candle. It was an enjoyable story. Don't get me wrong. Compared to DC Pride's anthology story, which I felt was beautiful, was very disconnected from the character that we know her as. This felt like her character. I just wanted more. So I would say if you are a Batwoman fan like me or Jen, definitely pick this up, because it will kind of give you that, sense of longing that we've been craving. Because listen, if y'all listening, give Batwoman her own series again. Like, just do it. I don't know what to tell y'all. Just do it.
Who should write it? I mean, we did a whole show, folks. Before we even did this show, you and I did a whole show about Batwoman. I've pitched who I would like to write it.
I don't remember who I said, and I don't remember who you said.
Gail
I know
Simone.
who. Yes,
Gail Simone always writes redheads.
Gail Simone does always write redheads, but you got to understand, we also did that show almost a year ago. I feel like perspectives have changed. as much as I want to see a woman writing it, can I throw a little bit of Rom V into the ring? Because I think with his horror and his gothic background, I think he would be fantastic. Let's throw Stephanie hands on the art. Let's have a little fun there. Or, hear me out, when Joelle Jones is wrapped up with Wonder Girl, let's throw Joelle Jones onto a Batwoman book.
You're right, because perspectives have changed a little bit since then. I hear your Rom V. I'm still a little bit sticking to Gail Simone. I could go Rom V, but for the artwork, I'm just going to go ahead and say Bill Quist.
I like that. Batwoman. Oh, that's fun. I like that.
Thinking about that like gothic horror vibe of Batwoman. I think that the like just dreamy artwork. Okay, and even hear me out here. I would almost even love to see G. Willow Wilson on it. Just thinking about the Sandman, the dreaming waking hours that right now G. Willow Wilson is doing, I think would be a fantastic creative team.
Absolutely. Or alternatively, hear me out, DC Comics. Jen and I are here to write your Batwoman story.
I'm just going to write Batwoman fan fiction where she does what heroes won't.
And there it is, guys. And there it is. We just really want a Batwoman book. Like
I really do.
It's been so long. I want a Batwoman book. I want a Green Arrow book. There's so many books that I want, and I want a Fire and Ice book. Like, listen, you're finally giving me Blue and Gold. Give me Fire and Ice. We'll call it a day. And that's it.
And that's it, folks.
Any other DC books that you picked up this week?
No, not that I picked up. I did really want to talk, actually. If you don't have any other DC books, I guess we can go to the other, like,
we want to go to the other side.
And I really just want to say, like, happy Daddies Day to Eddie Brock, because this whole Venom story, I know we spoke about it just a little bit before, but this whole Venom book, this whole ass huge $10, like, 100 fucking pages, however many pages there were, issue 35/issue 200 of Venom was about Eddie Brock being a father to Dylan after the whole events of King in Black, this whole like Null story, and literally just like picking up the pieces of it and where Eddie Brock is at being Venom. And it was actually really good. I'm glad that I picked this up because it does make me excited for Rom V. I'm going to say Al Ewing, but really I just, if the new Venom series is good with this new creative team of Al Ewing and Rom V, if it's good, I'm going to give Rom V all the credit. If it's bad, I'm going to give Al Ewing all the credit. So I'll just go ahead and just...
It's a double-edged sword.
I'm just going to call myself out there first. So anyways, this is actually a pretty good story. Who's on artwork? What's the dude's name? Is it Stegman? So anyways,
Ryan Stegman.
The artwork is actually really, really good. It kind of makes me wish that I was picking up Venom before this, but I only have so much bandwidth for this stuff. This was actually a really good issue, and it was worth the $10 and worth how big it is. So,
yeah, because it was a very big book this week. That was one of those books where I saw it on the shelf, and I was like, why is this book so huge? Why does it cost so much? What the hell is going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you pick up any Marvel books this week?
I did. I actually picked up a Marvel book, ladies and gentlemen. I did it. Round of applause for your girl for finally reading a Marvel title that isn't Star Wars. I picked up Peach Momoko's Demon Days Mariko. And I only bought one cover this time, so I'm pretty proud of myself, because if you were here 3 months ago, I bought 3 covers, 4 covers, 3 covers. I bought too many damn covers. So the fact that I only had to pick up one cover, had to. Haha, funny.
I only picked up one cover as well.
I only had to pick up one cover.
Oh wait, maybe I did. No, because I didn't even pick up the Peach Momoko cover. I picked up the Jen Bartel cover.
See, I did not like the Jen Bartel cover. I only liked the Peach cover. Yeah. Weird. So, I liked this book. Mm-hmm. I did not enjoy it nearly as much as I enjoyed the first book.
Yeah, that's fair.
I absolutely love the concept of what has been going on with Demon Days. So, and I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this correctly. So Peach Momoko, who is a absolute famous comic book artist right now, she is probably the biggest cover artist in Marvel or in comics in general. It feels like she's doing covers for literally everybody. She is doing her own series where she is taking the Marvel characters and the Marvel universe and kind of putting a unique, I don't want to say Japanese spin, but definitely an Asian, kind of folklore spin onto it. And again, correct me if I'm saying it wrong, or if I'm being rude or crass, but that's how, I see it. I don't think that this issue was nearly as creative as the first issue got. So in the first issue, we got to see her take on Psylocke. We got to see her take on Jubilee, on Wolfsbane. In this, we only saw Black Widow, and we saw her own set of characters, which again, I don't mind. I think that if it was just her own universe, I think it would have been very, very interesting. Like if it wasn't published by Marvel, if she had just done it, I think it would have held a lot more weight. But the thing that and correct me if I'm wrong, the thing that I think we really enjoyed about the first issue was going in and trying to find all of those little hidden Easter eggs and trying to figure out who's who and what's what, and just having a really good time with it. And I felt like in this book, and again, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, because there are characters that popped up where I'm like, I wonder if this is that character. And I don't know nearly as much about Marvel as I do DC, so it's a little harder for me to, present itself. But they did, announce in the back of the book, as they did last time, that in September, we are getting Demon Days Cursed Web #1, which is supposed to continue the story. Because, spoiler alert, this does leave on a cliffhanger. Yeah. I have two very different thoughts on this Cursed Web. First thought, we'll lead off with the positive. We are getting Mystique. I am here for Mystique. Give me Peach Momoko Mystique. My other thought about this is each issue we've gotten so far. So issue 1 and issue 2 were two totally different stories. This issue here and the Cursed Web, which comes out in September, are supposed to be continuations. But each one is called a #1. I don't like that.
So is it like...
It is a continuation. At least the last two are a continuation. But I feel like for a mainstream audience, and I feel like this is a book that would do really well with the mainstream audience because it has manga influences, because you can go into this without having any prior knowledge. I feel like having two #1s on a shelf could be very disconnecting for those people that are like, I liked this and I do want to continue reading it, but there's no #2 and instead there's a #1. And not everybody's going to either remember what's in the back of the book or even pay attention to the back of the book like we did. Yeah. So I feel like it should have just been like the Peach. I understand why there's 3 months or 4 months in between issues. She's doing a lot. Yeah. She's doing a lot of work.
Plus whatever like other covers that she's doing. I mean, exactly. I feel like the covers that she's doing has been slowing down because towards the beginning of this year / end of last year, like half of the variant covers that were coming out for everything were Peach Momoko. So,
so I just feel like there should have been more of a connect for the mainstream audience, and it should have just been issue 1, 2, 3, even if there's month breaks. That being said, Peach Momoko is a better writer than Mirka Andolfo and Maria Lovett combined. Mic dropped. There it is.
Boom. I would say that that's a hot take, but really at this point, I think that we say that each week. So at this point, it's a lukewarm take because that's just how we feel here. I was under the impression, maybe just after reading the first one, that they were all going to be one-shots. So I was left a little bit confused at the end of this one because it feels like the next one is going to be a continuation. So I wonder if it will be continued or if it'll just kind of continue that like one shot, like its own thing. I do think that you're right where having two #1 issues on the shelf are going to be kind of confusing. So I do wish that they had labeled it 1 for the first one, 2 for this one, and just had done one shots or had let people know which one to read.
Like an anthology.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. I'm excited for this book either way. I think it's a fantastic book. I think it's a fantastic world that's I don't know if it's a
And
world
think
that's
about
being
the
built.
variant covers we're going to get with Mystique next whatever issue.
In September. Yeah, I'm going to be here for every single Mystique cover.
And Josue is coming through right now with the hard facts, and we appreciate them so much. So Josue is saying that Mariko, who is our main character, apparently is a love interest for Wolverine. That's funny because I am also a love interest for Wolverine, so I don't know what the hell she's doing here. And is also saying that the character featured at the end, all in white, could possibly be Black Cat. Mariko is the Scarlet Samurai. Okay, I kind of know that one, but again, I'm the only love interest for Wolverine right here.
Yeah. And as well as Jean Grey and Cyclops.
Only when they're all together.
Only when they're all together, yeah.
And only if I can come too.
Yeah, I can't.
JK, I can't. No, never mind. I take it back because I don't care if Wolverine and Jean Grey are involved. I could not look at Cyclops in his bitch ass face. If somebody is in the chat right now, I am still very upset about Cyclops from this weekend. So there it is. Leave it at that. Fuck Cyclops. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Cyclops whatsoever. Did you read any other Marvel books?
I did not.
Okay. I feel like I ask that every week, and I should just know at this point that the answer is a big, hearty no.
Listen, I'm still new into Marvel. I still read Marvel collected stuff. I'm still dipping my toe a little bit into, the Marvel universe, but like, no.
The reason why I ask is because there's been this little event going on called the Hellfire Gala. And
that is right. The Hellfire Gala is going on. And if I was wrong, there was a kind of huge thing this week called Planet-Sized X-Men that the cool kids are talking about.
Yes. So basically, because those were the other two issues, New Mutants and X-Corp, which were a little bit better. But I do just want to say, Planet-Sized X-Men, I had been seeing this advertised in books for months now. Like, oh, you got giant size X-Men and then this, and we're gonna just do it by doing a planet size X-Men. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little bit like up here and then down here with this book. This book actually kind of brought it through. I feel like what this one's doing is basically culminating everything that happened in House of X, Powers of X, and then also like launching it into the next place. So we're basically getting, I mean, not that we haven't really already, but like X-Men in space and getting their own like terraformed planet. So it's pretty cool. I'm digging this so much. So much. And of course we get a lot of Magneto in this issue. So
Happy Father's Day to the ultimate daddy, Magneto.
Yeah. Dadneto.
Dadneto. Oh, I like that. So correct me if I'm wrong, is because I know that we are getting a whole new X-Men and relaunching the X-Men universe, or just the team? Question mark. My baby X-Men brain does not really know. But is Planet X-Men the book that kind of sets that in motion?
Yes. So I would say, I don't necessarily want to say that you've got to, like, that you could go in and just read this one, that you could just read Planet Size X-Men. If you maybe knew enough, you could maybe go into it, but I feel like there's so much going on. I would say at least read Hoxpox. At least read Hoxpox, read X-Men 20, and then maybe read this one, and you could maybe do enough to get into it. I say that to you. I know you're not like a huge Marvel person, not a huge like X-Men person. At least read Hoxpox. Don't necessarily worry about any of the Dawn of X stuff because it's a lot. But at least read X-Men number 20 and then please read this.
I have been avoiding Hoxpox for the longest time because that is a book that scares the absolute shit out of me. Listen, I've opened that book several times and I look at it and I just shudder in fear. I shudder. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is terrifying. I'm scared. I'm terrified.
It's a lot, but it's so damn good. I would say maybe if Tom King hasn't read it, maybe Tom King should read it so then he can know how to do back and forth timelines better.
Ooh, shots fired today. Tom, I still love you. It's fine.
This issue of Supergirl made me, like, it pushed me a little bit more towards the, like, okay, I can I actually want to read Tom King single issue by single issue, but I swear to God, if he starts doing
the back and forth, I might have to jump ship. I might have to jump ship on that one. Yeah. We're all in agreement.
Yeah. 100% shots fired. Yeah. So anyways.
No. I see Bobby's comment saying Cyclops will go where Batman won't. Listen, I've got an arguing statement on that because I don't think either of them will go where Batman won't. Like, can we be honest? Listen, you want to know who does go where either of them won't? It's a little man. Oh, I did not mean to mean that, but it's a man named Wolverine. Wolverine definitely does that. And what is it? He does, what's the Wolverine line where it's like, I do what I do best or something like that? Or what's the iconic Wolverine line that has a whole...
John, if you're still in the chat, we need your help. I know
I know the Wolverine. I know it's something. I'm the best I do. I'm the best I am at what I do. And that is exactly what he does. That gives that line a whole new meaning. Yeah. And there it is. Cyclops, again, is a little bitch.
I feel like Wolverine would 100% just, like, eat it like a pie eating contest. Like, it's some fucking, like, poutine fries. Just, like, tie his hands behind his back and just eat as much as you can, as fast as you can, for as long as you can stomach it. I feel like that would be Wolverine's, like, that would be how he goes in. I feel like truly Cyclops would go in and just get there and be like, ugh, and then just buck out. So.
I can't. You guys, I'm... pause because I just need my brain to reset on that one. I was not lying when I said that this is going to be the best show that we ever have done, guys. In the books, this is going to be the best show we have ever done.
Yeah. So, not only am I here to write your Batman fan fiction, but I'm also here, I think that I am going to go ahead and give people what Jonathan Hickman wouldn't do in X-Men, and that is to write the slash fiction. Is that what the kids call it? Like, I'm gonna write the throuple scenes between Jean Grey and Cyclops and Wolverine. I really think that Cyclops maybe just kind of like hangs out and sits by. Like, I think that he's not an active participant.
Wait, who isn't an active
Cyclops.
participant?
I feel like Cyclops isn't an active participant.
Do you think that Cyclops gets intimidated when Wolverine walks into a room, despite Wolverine being like a foot shorter?
I do. I don't think it has anything to do. To me, Wolverine radiates that like big adamantium energy, right?
Oh, I like that. Listen, they call him the Short King for a reason. Yeah. Okay, Wolverine is the Short King.
Yeah. So I'm definitely, you know what they say, the longer the claw. Wow. This is what happens when we are just.
Can I just remind everybody in the chat? At least I can't speak for Jen. I am completely sober today, surprisingly enough.
I am also completely sober.
We're completely sober today.
I haven't even had an edible or anything today. So it's just tea for me today. So,
tea and horny violence?
Horny. We woke up and chose horny violence. Our horny is on main. So thank you to the 15 people in chat who want to listen to us talk about this stuff. I feel like we've got a couple of independent comics.
There's a couple of independent books that we have to talk about. Absolutely. Was there any other Marvel books that you had this week other than all your X-Men?
Yeah, and I don't know if you're reading this one still, but Alien.
Am I reading Alien? Is Weyland Yutani still the good guy in that book?
So here's my thing. Maybe. But also, the Xenomorph, do they do what heroes won't? Okay. So anyways, this book, I feel like was my favorite book. Not of the week, my favorite issue of the series so far.
Okay. Nice save. Nice save.
Yeah. I saw your face there when you're like, this was your favorite book of the what? No, it was not my favorite book of the week, but my favorite of the issues so far. I feel like we finally got issue 4, and we finally get to see a book that actually has like aliens in it for the most part. So I really enjoyed it. Dad's talking about his son, and I feel like it's that moment there. This was a very fitting week for it to be Father's Day, because I feel like the majority of the books this week were about daddy issues, like Supergirl, the new character that was introduced, Ruthie Marie, whatever. Her dad died. In Venom, it's all about daddy issues there.
I'm sorry, I'm just zeroing in on the comments from Josue and Scott right now after the question that you just posed, and
acid makes for terrible lube, but
they have hit it on the nail 100%.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
And there we didn't think about that. We were just horny for monsters, I guess. Again. Horny for monsters, I guess. I don't know what to tell y'all, but thank you for bringing us down to planet Earth.
Yeah. This is a good issue. Lots of comics with daddy issues, and this is one of them, because the dad's basically like, my son, and then finds him, and then is like, he's kind of a piece of shit, but I'm a piece of shit too. That was the feeling that I got from it. So,
but Jen, you didn't answer the most important question.
What's that?
Is Weyland Yutani still the good guy of the series?
I mean, yes and no. I feel like there's a conversation of realizing that, like, maybe he's not. I was just excited. Listen, Mars, I'm a simple girl with simple needs, and I was just really excited that there were some fucking aliens in this
Did you finally get aliens? It only took 3 issues for you to finally get aliens?
Yeah, like, there's like actual aliens and stuff on board, so, you know, that's where my brain went.
She was excited for aliens, guys.
I was excited for aliens. Look. Okay. Yeah. Maybe someone else with a more thoughtful presence about this book. I was just like, give me aliens. Where are the aliens?
In the alien book. All you want is aliens in your alien book.
Yeah.
So that was aliens. Scott was asking about Compass, which is a new one from Image Comics.
Yeah.
I forgot about that book because it is sitting in an email box as a PDF, and I did not physically pick up a copy. And as we were talking about backstage, when people send PDFs, our brain tends to go somewhere else and we totally forget. And I totally forgot until Scott said something. So please, did you read Compass? Was it any good? Because it seemed like a fun little Indiana Jones story.
I did, and I don't have it right here. I think it's across the room with my Demon Days book over there. It was really good, and I felt like the maybe someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a lot of anachronistic moments where the main character is like...
Pause. I'm a dumb idiot. What does that word mean?
And so they're anachronistic, like there were moments where it didn't feel like she was a character who belonged in that time. So like anachronistic would be like having a cell phone in 1800s Victorian time. So I feel like her vernacular for the time didn't feel like it was in time. So I'm like, is there time travel going on in this? I thought it was still a really fun book. I was also very confused because I'm like, wait, did Greg Rucka write this? No, it's just is it set in the Old Guard universe? Once again, I'm confused, but that's the impression that I got, because Greg Rucka was basically like, the story was pitched to me, but he wasn't part of the creative team. So
that is a very odd book.
It was good though. I think that you would like it, but I think that you would probably read the first issue or two and then probably wait for the trade. So I would say at this point, wait for the trade. Yeah.
See, this is why I love Jen. Jen knows me best when it comes to comics.
Yeah. Scott says that the main character talks like that because the Muslim world at the time was more technologically advanced than Europe.
It's good to know.
So there's a moment where like she does go into European society, and so yeah, I don't know how else to describe it, but it was very, very good. And our racist historians tried to erase that history 100%. Thank you. So it was a really good book. I really enjoyed it, even if my review is not nicely worded. I still enjoyed it though.
Were
Not
there any
eloquent.
other Image titles this week? Because surprisingly enough, I did not have a single one, but you tend to pick up way more than I do.
There were two. One of them was Time Before Time, issue
Mm-hmm.
number 2. To quote my friend Greg from Comic Talk Live, where we talk about comics with a fun group of people over on Will the Beast fitness channel, comics and fitness. I did not ever think that I would be part of like a fitness channel because I'm not fit whatsoever. But anyways, to take the words of Greg, I don't know what's going on, but I like it. This one does do those weird time jumps. It's basically about
It's a time
traveler, and there's like an agency, and they go back and like kind of fix stuff, but then they also go back and place people in a way where it's like the witness protection program, but they do that and like put people back into other times. So there's some things like that, and then they're on the run. So it's been a pretty good book. I think that after this issue, even though it was good, I think that I may drop it after this one and just wait for the trade, because I think being able to read it all at once would be a much better experience because there's time hops. I mean, I should probably expect that from a book like this, but there's literally like time hops where it'll be like 2140 and then go to this time 2120 or whatever.
So it might be easier to pick up on once it's all together.
Exactly.
And that's how I felt about the first issue, and that's why I didn't pick up issue 2, is because while I enjoyed the premise of it, I personally felt like it would read better by trade.
Exactly. So I'll probably, yeah. The other Image book that I got, I'm kind of surprised you didn't pick this one up, and that's The Silver Coin. You're like,
yeah, it's just one of those books that my shop does not carry unless you order it, and I feel like that's one I'm just going to have to read by trade.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you who don't know what Silver Coin is, it's basically a horror anthology by Image Comics. I feel like because of the success of Ice Cream Man, where it's like a horror anthology, and it's done featuring this character called the Ice Cream Man that like Twilight Zones all of the different, like kind of creepily narrates all of these different scenarios. I feel like because of the success of that book, they're like, hey, let's do another horror anthology. And this one actually has different creative teams on each book. This creative team is Ed Brisson and Michael Walsh. And I feel like this was my favorite one so far.
Really?
It's about this group of kids who go and they're robbing a house, or I don't know if it's like a kids, but
it's a group of hooligans.
A group of hooligans. A hula group. I don't know. It's
hula group. A hula hooing group of hooligans.
So they go and they try to rob this house. There's a dead guy in the house, and so they end up setting the place on fire. Maybe not accidentally, but anyways, they get chased, and then one of them gets chased into the woods, and then it just gets even creepier. This book was the first one of the series where I felt the horror of this book, where I really felt that, like,
you felt the heebie-jeebies.
I felt the heebie-jeebies. The first book was about like a band who found the silver, or a member of a band who found the silver coin, and it brought them like good luck, I guess, but also bad luck.
It was one of those Icaruses strayed too close to the sun and got burned.
Exactly. And so then the second issue I really liked, but thought that it was a more of a love letter to 80s slasher films. I still really enjoyed it. But then this one, like I said, actually gave me horror vibes, like where I was reading it and felt really, really tense. So I'm really excited to pick up issue number 4. I know that Rom V is doing one, and of course I'm going to be excited the most for that one. But
it's one series that I am definitely excited for. But again, we all know how I go, where it's like, I have to really, really, really love a series to pick it up issue by issue. So
yeah,
that is one that is definitely on the list for as soon as it is compiled, I will be picking it up.
There are 2. I mean, there's a little bit more than 2, but there's a couple other books that I just haven't read yet. One of them is Destiny New York #4, and then this one is The Girl Who Electrified Tesla, and there's a David Mack cover. So
of course, so you had to pick that up.
I'm contractually obligated to at this point. I also picked up some other like weird random ass back issues, but maybe I'll talk about those next week. So oh,
go ahead.
Did you pick up any other? Because that was pretty much all the books that I read this week.
Really?
Yeah.
All the books that you read?
I think so.
I still have 4 more.
Oh,
what is happening? Okay, so all right, I guess we'll run through because there's one that I really want to talk about, one that I want to talk about, but we'll briefly talk about, and 2 that I'm kind of like, okay, we'll just go through them. So I guess the first one we'll go through is 7 Swords by Aftershock Comics. I actually picked this one up. This one, I pre-order everything. I'm a good girl at my local comic shop, and I pre-order all of my books. So I know exactly what I'm going to be getting each and every week, unless, I zero in on something and I'm like, oh, I need that. This was not on my list, and seeing it in stores, I absolutely fell in love with the cover. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. Surprisingly enough, the interior artwork for this one is actually gorgeous as well. There are 2 very different styles, and usually with books like these, you get a really great cover, but not a really great interior art. That being said, the story was not great. I'm kind of confused by what is happening with 7 Swords. So it seems like this guy who wants to go and get his revenge, they are creating a sort of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where this other guy that he knows is forming them, and then that guy dies, so then he has to do it all on his own. I liked some of the action sequences in this. I think some of the action sequences in this were very well done and very interesting. I personally feel like I would enjoy this story a lot more if it was a TV or a movie. I just feel like being able to see it visually, I would be a lot more drawn into it. Homeboy, and maybe this is because I watched John Wick last night finally for the first time. Homeboy looks a little bit like John Wick, so I was definitely hearing Keanu Reeves throughout the entirety of the book. But I don't know. This definitely is not Aftershock's best work, because we have been loving some of their titles like We Live and Nuclear Family and Lonely Receiver.
Body 2 Zach Thompson books, but yeah, Shadow Doctor. Yeah.
This is definitely one of those weaker books. Apparently it is a sequel to The Three Musketeers, which explains a lot, because I've never read or watched The Three Musketeers, but okay, that makes sense. I saw I saw the Mickey Mouse version. Does that count? It counts. Please say it counts.
Yeah, it counts.
Okay, it counts.
You got it. It's a beautiful, perfect
rendition.
Shot
Perfect shot for shot. Yes. Josue, I kind of picked up on the fact that this was Three Musketeers related, because they were kind of mentioning the Three Musketeers, but I wasn't sure. Josue is putting it best in the chat. He is selling this book way better than I am. Josue, why are you not on the show today? Apparently, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but Keanu Reeves here. Keanu Reeves is the last musketeer and searches for other master swordsmen from around the world. Men is in quotation marks, because there are female swordsmen. There's actually a really cool, I will say, there's one scene in this that I really... Swords Thems. There is a really cool scene in this book that I actually really enjoyed. It's a girl, I'm assuming it's a woman, because they actually say that they don't know if it's a male or a woman, on the stage singing an opera, piece, whatever. My brain's not working. And they hear the people in the stands talking shit. So they take these little things out of their hair, they string it in their little harp that they're playing, and they shoot the guys' wigs off. And I'm like,
good for them.
Exactly, good for them. I was like, first of all, good for them, but I think that the action of that was really interesting, and that's part of the book where I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But it's just, this is definitely a type of book for somebody. It's just not the type of book for me.
Oh, wow. I did end up getting that book, and I have one of the other books that I know you're going to talk about, but I have one of the books, right, some of them, and then I have like 2 or 3 over. I can literally see my books over there, but they're not in my hand. That's one of them, and I feel like the way you described that book sounds really fun, but then at the end you're like, it's not for me. That throws me off a little bit. Now you brought me up here, and then now I'm down here, Mars.
Sorry. I do what I do best, okay? I do what I do best. So since Josue is being very, very active in the chat, why don't we talk about this one? Because I know that they are very excited for
I
me
did
to
read
talk
that
about
one.
Luna number 5. You did read this.
I did
So
read that
you
one.
can jump in on the fun.
Okay.
Luna number 5 is the final book in the series. Thank fucking God, because I am tired of this book. I am just, first of all, I'm just going to come out and say it. They fucking gave Spiritual Boyfriend a name. Spiritual Boyfriend.
Issue 5, the last
On issue
one.
5, Spiritual Boyfriend's name is Ahoma. First of all, that Franny cover is fucking gorgeous. That Franny cover is beautiful, and I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual Boyfriend's name is Ahoma. I don't like that. I'm going to go back to calling him Spiritual Boyfriend. Spiritual Boyfriend it is.
Spiritual, can we, in honor of Father's Day, can we call him Spiritual Boyfriend Daddy?
How about we just cut out the boyfriend and just call him Spiritual Daddy?
Spiritual Daddy.
I like this. This is a good conversation to be having. So it wraps things up. We find out that Luna, of course, you know, as we predicted, is this mystical, magical goddess. And we kind of get some like Hades Persephone vibes, especially with the coloring. And for those of you that are reading Lore Olympus each and every week, like I am, if you are not, please download Webtoons immediately and read Lore Olympus. But I will say this book in the final issue, as with I feel like every issue, has some of the most absolutely gorgeous pages in any series ever. There are some where I just absolutely drop my jaw and I'm like, I would like to frame these.
Here, I'm going to.
We're going to get full screen. Like, and this may be spoilers, but you know what? There ain't that much to spoil, ladies and gents.
It's issue 5 by
It's
now.
issue 5. There ain't that much to spoil, but some of these are just absolutely gorgeous. I wish I was Luna right now. Some of these, I will say, I kind of like the way that this book ended. I think that those last 5 pages, here's another really great one.
Sorry.
And we're back again. Here's another really great one. You know, some of these pages are just absolutely gorgeous. But
I don't know why I did that. I'm so sorry.
Howdy! I am back. How's it hanging, friends? Oh God, I am zoomed in. Everybody can see my bad pores.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm just gonna hide. Oh, what kind of show are we running here, folks?
I know.
Oh no. So
Okay.
We're back to normal.
Sorry,
Howdy, friends. So what a trip. Very much like Luna. So I don't know.
But what we just did told a much better story.
Told a good one. Maybe I need to read this one from start to finish. Was it better than Faithless? Absolutely, 100%. You know, it's not
really,
but it's not hard to be better than Faithless. I feel like that's just my personal opinion and my hatred towards Brian Azzarello. Please, whatever, do in hell. I don't care. Yeah, Jen is just like, God damn it, what is she doing now? I'm just glad that it's over. I don't know. I really liked that first issue, but I think as time went on, I started to lose the magic. I was only there for the spiritual boyfriend. I wanted to be with the spiritual boyfriend. I am not with spiritual boyfriend, so I am, as we would call, upsetty spaghetti.
Sorry. So I 100% agree. And while I was reading this last issue, maybe you will feel differently, but I wish that this was just one really big one shot. Like if they had done like an extra sized one shot. I don't know if you read the book, and I have it right here, but Eden.
I was going to say like Eden.
This big old book, and this one was $7, and maybe this was a single issue and a half, maybe 2 single issues worth of content in one book, and it was oversized. I wish that was what Luna was. So maybe what I can do is I can just make my own version of it where I just
cut out the important parts.
Yes, I just take the first issue and glue it to the last issue and then photocopy it and then blow it up into a bigger one and just make my own fucking book, because that book had so much stuff in it that didn't need to be there and then just left out. So anyways, I did like this series. I felt like the first and final issue were my 2 favorites, and all the other stuff could have been cut out. The artwork went to that place where it was just beautiful, where you got lost.
Oh, absolutely. But there was also a couple, and we've talked about it in previous episodes of the show, but there are quite a few parts of Luna that were ungodly uncomfortable and that just did not sit right with either of us. And those are definitely the parts that on the chopping block, they would be the first ones to go.
Yeah. I do want to take a moment and tell everyone that I lied because I just now saw the stack of comics. So I do have Compass right here in front of me. And I do have Seven Swords right here in front of me. I haven't read it yet.
But she has them, folks.
I have them, and this is the stack that I haven't read yet. So I didn't read all my books.
But there is one book that, I'm upset that you didn't read it because I need you to read it, but we're going to save that book for last because I do have another one to talk about. Again, I'm going to be, no, you don't. You think you know. She thinks she knows. So
it's not the one that you already told me that I should. Okay.
No, it is not. I mean, you should be reading Seven Secrets because
I forgot to read it.
It's fine. It's fine. So, Seven Secrets. I sent Jen a very great text message saying that this book made me horny and sad in the same issue. Quite a roller coaster of emotions, y'all. So, listen, we've already established Bad Boy Aman and me are getting married. You are invited to the royal wedding on June 28th, 2029. I don't freaking know. I just know that I love Aman. He is like bad boy Zuko from Avatar The Last Airbender on steroids. He is going to be getting a redemption arc. 100%. It's happening. He's getting the redemption arc, and I'm going to be so excited for that. And if he doesn't, that's fine. He can continue to be a part of the scumbag boyfriend army. Listen, I've been on the fence about Seven Secrets. I'm like, am I going to drop it? Am I going to just read it by trade? Nah, I'm back in, baby. 100%, full blown, 100% love this issue. We get to see Aman pull some power moves. We get to see him hit in a chair. I am, in fact, the only person who could fix him on. Listen, I'm going to go to both Tom Taylor and Daniel DiNiccolo and be like, listen, I just need your blessing as his daddies on this Father's Day. I just need your blessing to fix your boy. That's all I need. But we get to see Aman do some really great shit. He gets a little bloody, gets his hands dirty. Complete badass in this issue, which I love. But then, of course, we jump over to Caspar and to Eva and to our group of people. And, you know, they finally get to catch their breath. They finally get to, you know, settle down because of the events of issue 5. Things have just kind of been nonstop for them. And they finally get to kind of recollect their thoughts and their feelings. And then, without spoiling it, very much in the spirit of Nightwing 81 this week, we are dropped an absolute bomb on the final page of issue 9 that made me cry and scream and violently want it to be next month so I could read issue 10. Please read Seven Secrets. Renominate Seven Secrets for an Eisner because this is just one of my favorite series. I love this book so goddamn much. It's not even funny. Like, as that dumb bitch who almost passed up on issue 1, I can't imagine my monthly comic book pool without it because it is just an absolute treat from start to finish. It's great. It's fantastic. Josue, you need to DM me your theories because I have theories. I don't know what's going on, but I need to talk and cry with somebody that understands because Jen still has not read issue 9 yet.
But I have it right here. And it'll... So, Josue also earlier called me out because I haven't read Ultra Mega yet either. I have it right here. I haven't read it. There, like I said, there's this whole stack. I also haven't read Berserker number 3. Maybe Berserker. Maybe we find out if there's more titty blood.
Jen, if there is titty blood in issue 3, we need to have a talk and you need to stop buying it.
Does Berserker do what Batman won't?
Does Keanu Reeves do what?
Oh, Keanu Reeves no doubt does that. 100%. I think Keanu Reeves exclusively does that.
Exclusively?
Yeah, like I don't think that he's the kind of dude that would be like, I need something in return. He just does it for fun. He does that for fun. Like that's what gets him off. Is that he doesn't need anything reciprocated. He's like, the fact that you got yours, hun, I got mine. And then, you know, rubs your back afterwards.
Keanu Reeves, DM me. Listen, I'm just on a Keanu Reeves kick We watched some John Wick last night. We had a good time. Keanu Reeves showed up in Seven Swords, but not really. Keanu Reeves is everywhere now.
I'm planning on reading this hot garbage. I just know this is not going to be good.
Why? Why did you give him? Why did you give him?
It's because I pre-ordered it, so you know.
Why did you give him your money, Jen? He smells farts. He smells farts, Jen. Okay. Wow. I have one last book to talk about. Oh, okay. You have books. Continue.
Well, no, these are all the books that I haven't even read.
Well, what books have you not read yet? I'm curious because I want to know if you picked up the last book I'm going to talk about.
Jenny Zero #2, Jupiter's Legacy, Berserker, Seven Secrets, Ultra Mega. I also got Ant for whatever fucking reason. It's mostly because I want to see if Ant is also a crossover, just like Solid Blood 17. And then some of these, I got some weird, like I said, weird back issues. So yeah.
So in terms of new issues, that's all you got. So you did not pick up what is arguably my second, maybe third favorite book of the week. I'm very upset that you did not pick up Save Yourself from Boom Studios.
I do have that one.
Okay, she's redeemed herself, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so
listen,
sorry.
Tony, if you're listening, you can take off that Craigslist ad for a new host now. Thank you.
I don't have it right in front of me, but
no, that's fine. Did you read it? Did you get a chance
yes,
to
I
read
did
it?
read it.
Okay.
It was so delightfully queer.
It was delightfully queer. Listen, I've got an elevator pitch for Save Yourself for anybody who's listening, and I'm going to kind of forward it here because it's kind of glaring on the screen. My elevator pitch for Save Yourself. Ready for this? It is Sailor Moon meets The Boys. And the pitch was so great that Jen had to exit the room, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, Save Yourself is a fantastic little gem. It is so again, as Jen said, delightfully queer. It is delightfully written. Did the elevator pitch blow your mind that bad?
It did.
Yeah, perfect.
Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I have Save Yourself. Oh my god, I don't know what's happening with my stack this week, but it's like all over the place because I picked up some $1 books. And it's not even in this. So
but that was like the perfect pitch, right?
So hear me out, because you said Sailor Moon meets what?
Meets The Boys, or Zodiac Star Force meets The Boys.
So hear me out. I'm going to go ahead and say Powerpuff Girls meets like Cosmo Knights.
I can see that. I can see that.
It was good.
It was very good. I also have a new wife, which we'll talk about. This book is gorgeous, first of all. This book, Jen already knows which wife I'm talking about. It's great. I have a type.
She's thick. She's thick.
She dummy thick. So Save Yourself, the artwork in Save Yourself is absolutely phenomenally gorgeous. It is bright. It is colorful. It is so stylistic. It is just fantastic. And while this is technically a Boombox comic, I don't feel like this is a comic, because Boombox, if you guys are not aware, is their child imprint. Look how gay it is, guys. It's super gay. Boombox is the young adult children's imprint for Boom Studios. This book is starting to get a little dark, and it's great. So the premise of Save Yourself is you have 3 Powerpuff Sailor Moon-esque girls that are celebrities, social media socialites, and superheroes. But we find out halfway through that these superheroes are not the kindest people in the world and may actually be the bad guys, aka the boys. Again, this book is, as Jen was saying, delightfully queer. There are a couple of lines in the book that I was a little like, that's a little cringe, and I wasn't crazy about some of the dialogue, especially in the beginning, but as we progress, it was just a treat from start to finish. And my new wife, she a big, thick lady, and she great. She fantastic, and I love her already.
Mm-hmm. I think that there were moments for me because big, thick wife lady, I can't remember their name, but they end up kissing the main character, and there was a moment where that felt a little bit like because I don't feel like she asked for consent or permission to do that. So I was a little bit thrown off there. But I do like the aspect of like these three superheroes, because they're called the Lovely Trio.
The
They're
Lovely
like
Trio.
the superheroes of the books. They're supposed to be the good guys, and then maybe they're not, or maybe everything is just set up to be a performance, perhaps. So yes, this was I enjoyed this book a lot.
100%. Also, there's a shark. There is a shark character
Yes.
in this book. So this book was made for me as somebody who loves magical girls, dark stories, and sharks. So I don't know if I'm going to add it to my pool list just because stuff, but I'm dropping a lot of things, and a lot of things are ending. So maybe I need new titles to fill the place. So I will have to think about this, but it'll probably go on the pool list.
I would be surprised if this wasn't on your pull list, because
it's a me book, right?
Yeah, it is. And I think what I really liked, the writing was good, but I think the artwork did it for me. The artwork and the colors, it almost reminded me of Bruno Redondo in Seven Secrets.
A little bit. It's definitely colorful. It's definitely, but again, the fact that it is as queer as it is, because it is more than just ladies kissing. There is gender identity in this book. There is pronouns in this book. Like, listen, this is just Pride Month, queer politics in a good way, 101.
Yeah. For sure. And I like that this is a kid's book, because I need those palette cleansers. Because I know that I'll be reading shit like Ultra Mega, and then that's just like weird and gory, and then I need something like this that's just really nice.
So that was all of the new comics from the week. There was a lot of, like I said, there was a lot of really, really good ones. A lot of ones that surprised me, like Save Yourself and Supergirl, which I still can't believe was as good as it is. Seven Secrets and Nightwing 81 continued to knock it out of the park. You know, it felt like there was a little something for everybody this week, which was fantastic considering the last couple weeks I feel like we've been kind of a slump lately.
I agree. And I think that there have been weeks that have been just books where there's weeks where not a lot of books came out. And I was like, man, I didn't like anything. Maybe it's because it was just a smaller week than normal. And then there have been weeks that are like huge. And I'm just like, I read like 15, 20 books.
And didn't like anything.
And I can't really like put my finger on one that I absolutely loved. So this week it was a solid week, and I enjoyed almost everything. And I've still got a couple more to read. So,
which is very exciting.
Yeah, I know that it's so funny because, Friday, was it Friday? Whatever day it was, you messaged me and you asked me, I think, if I had picked up Seven Secrets, and I'm like, no, I forgot it at my shop, or I just didn't get it. And so I ended up going to a comic book shop, and I picked up some stuff, and like I picked up some like random back issues and things like that. And then you text me and you were like, Jen, I spent dumb bitch money. And I'm like, tell me what you got. And then literally, I don't know. So I know that you have some things, and I want to see what you got.
Mars did indeed pull a Jen. She channeled her inner Jen and became Jen.
I got a sneak peek at the stacked folks, and
she did.
Immediately I'm like, you really did pull a Jen. Like, you picked up so many things.
I definitely pulled a Jen dumb bitch money move. So guys, if you can tell by my groan, there is a lot of goodies here that I picked up. We're gonna no, oh god, no, we're supposed to hide the surprise. Hide the surprise. You can't see anything. She can't see anything. Nothing. No, there's nothing here for you to see.
One thing that you did. So.
There's lots of things here. So let's jump into it. Because we all know who my true comic book husband is, I had to pick up a little Guy Gardner figure for $16. Don't know where he's going to fit because I've got a million figures. You know, if you've seen my Instagram, you know what my toy shelf looks like. You know how hard it is to dust that thing. And now I have to find room for the OG comic book husband. Listen, I am one of like 8 people that love Guy Gardner. So like,
you know, we talk a lot about like, you know, will this character do what heroes won't? And I feel like out of the hottest of hot takes on this show is how much you like Guy Gardner, because like, yeah, it's you and like 2 other people.
I love Guy Gardner. And on the subject of will he or won't he? He will, but only for the specific right person. So like 1 in a million, folks. Like he finds that good girl. You know that if Guy Gardner does it, he's wifing you up. He's taking you home to mama.
Mhm.
Otherwise, he just don't give a shit. So there's at least I'm honest about the scumbag in my life. So
it's you and 3 other people.
Me and 3 other people. Yay! The Guy Gardner fan club of 3 people. I'll get us jackets. It'll be fine. Other books that I picked up, because I picked up a lot, and I actually did something that I never do, and that is that I bought a lot of books for cover price. And I'm the type of person that bargain shops, but I picked up a lot of stuff at cover price value this week. So let's get into the goodies. So the first book I picked up, which I'm really excited, I literally went to 3 different shops looking for this because I needed this book after you talked about it. And that is The Girl from the Sea by Molly Ostertag, who also did The Witch Boy. Can we talk about how this book is only $15? And it is a pretty thick book for being $15. Like, you are definitely getting more money out of this than you are out of some like DC and Marvel trades. So be gay, do comics, be gay, read comics, be gay and support independent comics. All of the above. And this is published by Scholastic. So I'm really excited because I've loved some of the books that they have published recently. And there's another book in here by Scholastic. So we'll get to that. So ridiculously excited to read this.
Okay.
You talked lovely things about this book, and this book just looks gorgeous. And I'm
so good.
I need that good queer palate cleanser. Like, I have been feeling in such a slump lately, but there are some books that I have been reading, and I feel like it's because I've been reading superhero stuff a lot, and I think reading, more stuff, it's been pretty great. I don't know. So it's pretty great. So I picked up that. I picked up this on a whim because it is one of my favorite books, and because it is Pride Month, you got to pick it up. That is The Prince and the Dressmaker, which is probably one of my favorite queer comic books. I love any book from First Second. They're just so cozy and cute to put on your shelf. They're just the perfect reading size. Jen also has it. This is I've already read this one, but it's one that I needed in my collection. It's one of those books about queer identities and not necessarily being gay or straight, but there's a lot of trans representation and definitely gender fluidity representation, which we don't see a lot, especially in all ages books. So if you need a good book for Pride, Prince and the Dressmaker should be at the top of your list.
I feel like The Witch Boy, you said that you read that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that one definitely has that I don't want to call it trans coding, but I feel like it definitely plays with like that gender fluidity
and gender identity
and gender roles and things like that. So I would almost call The Witch Boy like the anti-Harry Potter book right now, or the anti-JK Rowling book, because So anyways, show me what else you got. Show me what you got.
Show me what I got. We've talked about this book a couple times, and I saw it, and I was like, I'm just going to pick it up. And that is Odyssey by Matt. Are you okay?
Have you not read that book?
I have never read Odyssey. Tony, I need you to put up the thing for a new co-host. We just killed her.
I need you to read this book like right now. All
right, guys, we're reading it on stream.
Mars. Here's the thing, Mars, is that I know that I said that I would read 7 Secrets. I'll read 7 Secrets as soon as this is done, but
this is a lot bigger than your single issue, fam.
Okay, but hear me out. I need that to be on the top of your list. I need that one to be on the top of your list, and just go ahead and order volume 2.
There's a volume 2? There is a volume 2. It says volume 1. See, I thought this was a one shot, one. Oh, okay. That's fine. That's fine. Mars. I'm okay with that. So Jen is losing her shit. Odyssey, from what I know about it, it's Matt Fraction, which I love. It's Christian Ward, whose artwork I absolutely loved. This is your plug to please read Invisible Kingdom by Christian Ward and G. Willow Wilson. It's a fantastic sci-fi book. You'll love it. Apparently, this is also a retelling of Homer's Odyssey, which, again, if you know me, huge slut for Greek mythology, as most queer girls are. And apparently, from what I remember us talking about it, it's a little gay. It's a lot of
little
gay.
It's a little straight, is what it is. It's a little bit straight. It is very gay because it's basically Homer's Odyssey, gender bent in fucking space on acid.
Nice.
And it is so good.
To be fair, it was with the queer pride display, so I figured it was a little gay.
It's a little straight.
Okay. It's a little straight. I like that.
I have, maybe I'll wear them. Maybe I'll take a picture of them. I have a pair of Odyssey leggings. Yeah.
So she's in deep, folks.
I am in deep. That book is so good. Love it.
We'll push it to the top of the list.
Put it to the top of your list because it's so good.
Will
I need
do.
to know by the end of Sunday. By the end of today.
Girl, I'm 3 hours in front of you. I don't have that much Sunday left.
But you have some Sunday left.
But I have some Sunday left. I do. So other books that I picked up. So these two I did pick up on discount. I bought Prism Stalker Volume 1 for $8, which is one that I feel like people have been telling us to read. I think by the look of on your face, you've read it. I've never read it. I was flipping through it. I think the artwork looks delightful. It is colorful. It just seems like it's going to be a really fun time. And again, people have been telling me to read this for a while, so definitely wanted to pick that up. I also picked up Volume 5 of Sex Criminals for $8, which I'm really excited because I believe I only have one more in the series to pick up. And Sex Crims is another one of those books that sex criminals, right? Doesn't seem like it should be wholesome. This is a book where every time I read the first 2 volumes makes me cry. It feels weirdly personal to me. And I love Susie and Jonathan. And, you know, I've been wanting to do a reread of the entire Sex Crim series. So I think I'm going to pick up the last volume. If there is a last volume, this may be it. I'm not really sure.
They ended up, they just finished that series this last year. And they did a special, they jumped all the way to issue 69.
Nice. Love that.
Nice.
Nice. But like, this is one of those series where when I first started reading comics, this was one of the first independent books that I ever read. So it's going to feel bittersweet, you know, rounding it out. So really excited about that.
I know this is a safe place. I've read like up to volume 3 of that series, and I haven't gone further. So if you do a reread, I would love to join because
we're going to do a buddy read.
I'll do the first 3 volumes reread, and then I'll actually read the rest.
Is Sheena still in the chat? Sheena loves buddy reading. Sheena, come buddy read Sex Crims with us.
Buddy read. Let's be sex criminals together.
Yes. I want to be a sex criminal. I am a sex criminal. What are you talking about? Anyway, so this next wholesome book on our list is one of my favorite series. And I finally picked up volume 3 of Heartstopper. If you know me, you know how much I love this book. It is one of those books that make me cry for no damn reason other than it is just so sweet. And I want a relationship like Charlie and I'm having a blank. Nick. Charlie and Nick. They are just the sweetest little babies. And like their conversations with each other and the conversations they have with their friends reminds me like I'm back in school. And it's like, you know, just that sweet school romance that you want to have. And it's so beautifully drawn. And volume 4 is slowly coming out. And this is one of those books where overseas they got it first and I had to wait longer. So if V is still here, V has been like, I read volume 3. Have you? And I'm like, I want to pay the $30 for shipping just so I can have it now. But I know I shouldn't. So I'm really excited to read Heartstopper volume 3. And I went to a local shop that had these cute Valentine's Day cards for Heartstopper. So I picked them up. I'm probably going to sleeve them up and stick them in a drawer somewhere. But I just thought that these were really cute because they have little things like you make my heart sing and coming out with you is like a dream. Like, you can't get any cuter than this, Jen. If you have not read Heartstopper, please.
You know,
please.
I bought it. I had it displayed up here. I haven't read it. I had it displayed up here. But that's one of the ones that I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to read it this month. And I think I bought it about a month or so ago from that anime shop that's here in town.
Please read it. I will read Odyssey. You will read Heartstopper.
Yes.
We'll have a grand gay old time.
Yeah.
Picked up this big boy, which I'm like, I'm insane because I spent $60 whole on the Sweet Tooth omnibus. So we were talking 2 weeks ago that I have read about halfway through Sweet Tooth, but have the old out of print volumes.
Mm-hmm.
So this has all of them, and I was like, you know what? This is not ridiculously huge. When you look at some omnibuses, it's like it's too heavy to hold. I don't like that. This actually feels very nice. It doesn't feel overwhelming. It feels like it's just going to be nice in my hands. So I'm really excited to read this because I think I'm going to read this and then watch the show.
Oh, the show is really good.
I think that's what I've decided. My mom has watched the entirety of Sweet Tooth before I have and is asking me all these questions. And I can't answer them because A, she doesn't like when I give the comic book answers, and B, because I haven't read the whole book and I don't know where season 1 stops. I have one other book that I'll talk about, but I wanted to save that for last because it is my favorite. So I'll just show off some of the single issues I got. I know that you have this for me. But when you see this in a shop during Pride Month, you can't help but pick it up.
And that's my fault because I've had it for like 3 months now,
it's
4
fine.
months now, and I've just been waiting. I added something else to it this week, so like
she's nuts, y'all. But I just love Barbalian, and can I be honest with you? I just want to frame this cover, so this cover is going to immediately go up, and I'm so excited. And it's Pride Month, y'all. Please read Barbalian, the Red Planet. You know, Scarlet Witch Ho. So I picked this gorgeous ass cover up. Absolutely obsessed with that. David Aja's art is gorgeous. And then because I am a Magic the Gathering fan, I picked up the first, the 1 in 10 variant of my Queen Lady Gorgon Vraska for $10 because, listen, I would die for this woman. This you see this lady here? This is the whole reason why you see this beautiful Gorgon snake lady who could do nothing wrong in this world. This lady is the whole reason why I started playing Magic the Gathering, y'all. No joke. The whole reason, and now I'm in deep. It's fine. It's okay. It's cool. It's whatever. So the last book I picked up, and I saw this sitting on your couch, so I'm very excited. The last book I picked up is Poison Ivy Thorns.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna give a little rant and mini review while we're here. This book, listen, I don't like Poison Ivy. I'm not a Poison Ivy fan. I really am not. She's right up there with Harley for me, where I feel like she's a little overrated, and I can't get with her. This book was so delightful. I could not put this book down. So this is the newest imprint, the newest story from the DC Young Adults graphic novels line. It is a queer Victorian horror-esque story following Poison Ivy. I loved this book from start to finish. It was such a delightful treat. The writing was magnificent. The art was magnificent. And it was hella gay. So listen, if you want to read a good gay book, if you just want to read a nice, because this feels like an indie book. We all know who Poison Ivy is, and that's all you really need to know. Pick up Poison Ivy Thorns. It was phenomenal. I can't stop thinking about this book. This might be one of my favorite things that I've read this year.
Wow.
And there it is.
You know, I feel like because they're not doing the DC Inc. books anymore, but they're still doing
the original graphic novels, which, can I be honest, that's where DC is thriving right now. It really is.
Yep. I 100% agree. I think that these are really great, once again, wholesome reads, like really great palate cleansers. Good. Even though you mentioned, like, you'll read a superhero book and then you want something like this, even though this is kind of that, like, superhero mythos type stuff, but it's not.
But it's not. Yep. Like, I feel like if you changed the name and called her something else, or maybe if Poison Ivy wasn't even a character, this would just be a really good young adult book. Like, something that I could see, like, First Second publishing. It's one of those types of books where it's like I immediately went and bought it for, you know, my cousin who reads, you know, all of these young adult DC graphic novels. Listen, y'all, please don't sleep on this book. And I feel like this book was literally just announced and now we finally have it. So you just pick up Poison Ivy Thorns. There it is.
You know, you mentioned that, like, it feels like it just got announced and we're getting it because I think that there was what's the other one? I Am Sunfire?
I Am Not Starfire book, which was Starfire. Announced 2 years ago. A year ago?
Like, maybe more within the past year, but then it's coming out later this year. So I feel like I remember seeing this in an ad in another DC book a couple of months ago, and then all of a sudden it was available this week. Like, give me I Am Not Sunfire, if that, or Starfire. If that book is anything like this,
I want it. I want 10 more books like this. 10 more books like this.
I am gonna steal like a pinch of your thunder, because I wouldn't be me, honestly, if I didn't have my own stupid, ridiculous book haul that I
Oh,
did.
she's got a dumb bitch
I
haul.
do.
Here it is.
And these were just some books that I ended up getting used at Powell's. Sabrina Teenage Witch, the little teeny tiny one. And then I also got, for some reason, I got X-Men Phoenix. I think I was maybe not sober when I picked up this one. I'm really not sure how or why this one ended up on there, but you know, it was there. This one I feel like I've heard you talk about so much, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. Four kids walk into a bank. So I saw it used.
Okay. The way that you just freaked out about Odyssey. Oh my God. Four Kids Walk Into a Bank. How have you never read this book? Four Kids Walk Into a Bank is one of my absolute favorite books of all time. Easily in the top 5, maybe top 10 spot. Has some of the best writing, some of the best storytelling. Four Kids Walk Into the Bank. Four Kids Walk Into a Bank. Sorry. Is the type of writer that I aspire to be. It's so beautiful. So wonderful. Also, Josue is very upset with you.
One, I want to go ahead and say to JG, we are on every Sunday. Typically, we do Sunday mornings. Today was we did a Sunday evening. Maybe we'll shift to Sunday evenings now. It's all made up, and the points don't matter. Like it's Sunday, yes, to be determined. It's usually either early or later. So, yes, we are here every Sunday to talk trash about comics. And then Josue, yes. And so here's what I do is that I'm giving you my secret because Powell's gets used books in. So what I do is I go to their website and then I go to their used category, and then you go to category again and you click on fiction and poetry, and then you go again and you click on graphic novels. Like that's the little subsection that you go to. And then it'll show you all the books there that are used, graphic novels, and it'll show you by relevance. But the trick is to change sort it by relevance to sort it by date received. So then you see all of the new used books that have come in, and that's my secret. I'm
gonna use that. I'm gonna use that.
So I'm probably going to get less comics now, but that's how I find like all the used books that came in. I do have, and you can even, if there is, you can put a used book alert. So if there's a new book that comes in, you can say, I want a notification when this book comes in used. So there's like 10 that I have on my list that, and I'll show you one of them that I got.
Secrets with Jen.
I know. So anyways, that's like I said, you've got to spend money to save money, and I save a lot of money. I save a lot of money.
So hear me out. You have Four Kids Walk Into a Bank. I have Odyssey. I need you to listen. I need you to read Four Kids Walk Into a Bank, Jen.
Okay.
I need you to read it.
I will read this tonight. If you can read Odyssey tonight.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, cool. One of the other books that I got Hellcat #2 because I've only got the first volume. I've also got this one, My Pretty Vampire by Katie Skelly.
I've been wanting that book so long.
If you just did the Powell's used book thing, that would have, this would have popped up. So, got that one. And then I also got Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight #2 because I've only read the first one. So I finally got volume 2. And then
Jen picked up all my favorite books this week. It's a miracle. I love this. It's like Christmas.
It is. And then I also got Ghost Spider volume 2. I don't think that I have a collected volume 1, but I read the first 2 issues of it. So we'll see if I can figure it out. And then I did get this other Jeff Lemire book, Justice League Unlimited. United. So we'll see how that one goes. And then Gideon Falls, volume 2, because I've only read volume 1, and this just volume 5, I think.
I think the series finally ended.
So, but the Piece de Resistance.
You mean it wasn't Four Kids Walk Into a Bank?
No, for this series, I literally have every other book of this series except this one. And for the most part, I don't know. These are pretty expensive, so I've never picked them up before, but I finally got this one. And I've almost picked up the second and third one before, but I'm like, nah, I don't have the first one. So anyways, I got a used book alert that Saga, like the special one, volume 1 was available for Powell's, and I'm like, it was like $30 as opposed to the
60. 50.
Yeah. So
And
I'm
that is the best way to read Saga. I
Mhm.
stand by it because it has the first 3 trades in it, and there are 3 altogether, so there are 9 altogether. Look at me doing math
so
late
far.
at night. There are 9 so far. Speaking of Saga, Brian K. Vaughan got announced for Baltimore Comic-Con, which is my yearly show that I attend. I am trying to convince Jen to show up with me, but I'm also afraid that if we are in the same room together with Brian K. Vaughan,
Yeah.
we will be asked to leave the convention because
Yeah.
we will just ask, "Where is Saga? Please give us
Where's
Saga."
Saga?
We're just
Brian.
gonna Okay, you're gonna play bad cop, and I'm just gonna violently cry until we get Saga back. We
Yeah.
are going to be the saviors of Saga.
Yeah, we'll bring it back, folks. Mars has been known to will stuff into existence for DC, so I think with our powers combined, we can do it for Image. It's funny because we were talking about Powell's earlier, and I'm like, yeah, I live relatively close to there. And then I'm like, oh, by the way, I also live relatively close to Image Comics headquarters. So, let's go ahead and I'll just go to Image Comics and just be like, give me
We'll just
Saga.
protest outside.
Give me Saga. So, there you go. So, I've got a book to read tonight. I've got like a lot more to read, but I'll read this one first. And apparently, Mars is going to read
Odyssey.
Yeah.
It's a good. Listen, I love weeks like this. I feel like, and you might have been feeling this way too, but I feel like the past couple weeks, I've been feeling in kind of comic slump, and it's kind of a combination of what I've been reading, just how I've been feeling. Work sucks, life is hard, millennial life in 2021, just whatever. Anyway, things are weird, but I just felt like I was slowly falling out of love with comics, and I hate when I feel like that because at the end of the day, I would not be who I am, where I am without comics. Comics will break your heart, absolutely. So this week in particular, I feel like reignited really my love for comics, and it just, is it weird to say it feels good to be back? Because it's not like I ever really left, but it feels good to be back.
Yeah, and like I said, there were a lot of weeks where, whether it was a smaller week or a larger week, and all the books were just not great. And that sucked because I'm like, I didn't really love everything that I read. Like there'd be weeks where like there'd be a lot that came out and I'd be like, okay, of course I really love Swamp Thing. Of course I really love Layla Starr, but then nothing else really hit. So this week it was like I really genuinely enjoyed everything that I read. I didn't read anything like Freak Snow. There were no You Promised Me Darkness.
Did you ever
There were no Deep
Did you ever
Beyond.
text Freak Snow?
No.
No. Okay.
Sorry.
Me either. We were good boys and girls today.
Yeah.
We did not choose the violence. We did not. I don't feel like we chose violence today. I feel like this was there was the horny violence, which I don't think counts and constitutes as violence. It felt like a pretty violent-free show this week.
For the most part. I mean, we did choose a little bit of violence thinking about like Batman and things like that.
But I feel like we always choose violence when thinking about Batman.
That is true. Yeah. We've called Batman a loser a lot on this show. So
Batman Year 100 choosing violence. 100. He got the violence.
Yeah. For sure. I know that there were a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. Like, I know I asked you backstage about whether or not you have heard about these little things called comic book tags. Does anyone in the chat know what I'm talking about? Or am I the only one that's like, what the fuck are these? And then just has to like go into it. But apparently Scout Comic Books Scout Comics, the publisher, is coming out with these things called comic tags, and they are like they almost look like little mini passport type things where it'll have a barcode on the inside, and you can download a digital comic book. So I guess what they're trying to do is they're trying to do something like, do you read digital comic books but want something physical? Do you read physical or want something physical to collect but want to be able to read it digitally? So I feel like they're like dipping their toe into this really weird water. And I don't know if it's like, it made me think of Bad Idea.
Sounds like a bad idea.
It feels like a gimmick, and I feel like Bad Idea would be doing this. And I know that last week I stuck up for Bad Idea, but one of the new things that Bad Idea is doing is that you can apparently pre-order their last 5 books, where you can go ahead and pay like $120 up front, and you can go ahead and buy all of the last 5 books that they have coming out, which weren't even announced.
No.
And that just feels like a lot to me.
That,
I understand. I will say that the Bad Idea books that have been coming out were good books. These were not bad books. And if each one of those books ends up going on the secondary market for like $200, by all means, like, if you end up selling it on the secondary market, if you've bought all 5 runs of the books and you get let's just say 20 books, if there's 4 issues each, if you sell just one of those books at $150, you've made your money back.
I don't like it though, because I hate the idea of secondary markets, but like that just seems like such a bad idea. Why is that a thing? Who thought that this was a good idea? Also, kind of bouncing off of your scout tags idea, Jay pointed out a good fact, and that is that Marvel Comics, and this is something that I feel like always gets overlooked and we don't talk about nearly enough, Marvel offers 1 free digital copy with every physical purchase you make. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely love that. I feel like all companies should do that. Not just Marvel. I feel like if DC or Image, because it's kind of like that idea of, I bought this book, I think my friend might like this book, I'm going to give them a copy of it for free. Like, that's just free advertising at that point. And it's not costing you anything to make it. It's not costing you anything to do it. And if anything, you might get additional sales out of it, because that friend who has now read that book for free might say, oh, I like this book, I want to read more. They might pick up a physical copy for themselves. They might pick up the single issues down the line, or they might just pick up the trade because they realize they really like it. Can we get on the ball?
Can I tell you that I have seen that as like a marketing thing for Marvel? For how many years have they been doing that? Can I tell you how many I have done that for?
I've given out some codes.
0. So
I've given out a couple codes.
I feel like that should I be giving out codes to people? Like, I literally have hundreds of Marvel books. Could that be an additional 100 books that I could be giving away to people? Is this a list I can compile? I really like doing spreadsheets.
It very well might be. And that also leads the other question. If you do rip the sticky off of the free code in a Marvel book, does it decrease the CGC value? Because that is something that I have always wondered. Can somebody please confirm in the chat, if you have sent a book to CGC, if you take off that Marvel barcode on the inside, does it decrease the value of your book?
More than likely, 100%.
Jay did say that. Pull the digital stickers off and lose points off your graded slab. Yeah. I guess it does. So, womp womp.
Womp womp. But, I mean, here's the thing, is that New Mutants number 19, I'm not going to send this to be graded. So, I mean, am I going to do it to all of them? No, but I wouldn't do it to any of the number 1s or anything that I feel like could potentially be a spec book, but,
you never know.
D, hello. Thank you for being here. D is one of my absolute favorite people in the community. So thank you so much for being here, friend. I say that as I'm just like, what else are we going to talk about?
But no, I just feel like that bad idea. $120 up front on 5 series. You said it's 5 series. How many issues is how many books are you getting in total? Do we
That's
know?
what I'm saying, is if it was like a 4-issue series, then you'd be getting 20 books. So 120 divided by 20 is going to be 6. So you're essentially paying $6 per book.
That's too much money.
That's me underestimate. That's me saying 4 books. Some of them could be 5, which that of course would knock it down.
I just do not, as much as I would love to read ENIAC, because ENIAC does seem like a really cool premise.
It is.
I absolutely hate the idea of Bad Idea. I don't like them as a company. I don't like their stupid practices. I don't like how it feels like they are just in it for the gimmick and they do not want to help comic shops at all. If anything, they are hurting comic shops. I am just not a fan of them at all.
The general feeling or vibe that I get about the people who go and specifically get Bad Idea is that because there's so much, like, you wait at the shop to like, the people, whenever Bad Idea came out and like ENIAC came out, you get the little like sticker thing, so you get the little like coin, whatever, and so you get that token, I think it was. So I think the people who are really into that gimmick are in it. So it's not like they are being hustled, because I think that they know exactly what they're getting into, right? But at the same time, I'm like, does it help? Does it hurt? I like that, because I feel like for a while people were complaining that they would want to get an issue of something, and then speculators would go and grab them all, and then they would all be on the secondary market for way over cover price. But I feel like Bad Idea was trying to curtail that, but I feel like their marketing practices have done just that, because they're like, well, people can only get 1 copy of each issue, so then that creates scarcity. So then that ends up making it so that ENIAC #1, for whatever reason, is selling for several $100s with a little token the first week that it comes out. And then, granted, it's not the comic book stores that are doing that are not like charging way over cover price. It's the people buying it.
It's just too much for me, and I don't like it. I feel like in the past year and a half, kind of since the beginning of quarantine, we've seen a spike in the speculator market. We've seen a lot more people hoarding books and a lot more people flipping books. And it's constantly, what book is going to be the next spec book? I see people on Instagram joking, is this going to be the book that I can retire on? And it just kind of takes the fun out of comic books. Me and Jen, we've always been very transparent that we are not a speculator channel. We are here. We're not. Sorry, babe. I hate to break it to you. But we are not a speculator channel. We do this because we love comics, because we are passionate about these stories, because we are passionate about sharing our love for these stories with, all of you. And of course, making it a safe, inclusive space for everybody. But when, you have channels that pull in thousands of views merely to see what is going to be the next spec book, I find myself looking at people in comic shops now, and I'm not that person to judge anybody, because at the end of the day, you do what you're going to do and you like what you're going to like. But when I see somebody pulling 4 or 5 of the same issue off a shelf, I know that you are not going to read it. I know that you may have never even read a comic. There are people that I know that are doing this that don't even read comics. Don't know why they're picking it up. They just hear it's a spec book and they're going to flip it for a couple dollars. And it's just, I don't know, man.
I feel like that takes a lot of the fun out of it, especially one of the books that I know did that recently was Star Wars High Republic. I feel like, me, like, I'm not a big fan of Star Wars, or at least there's a whole reason for that, and I won't get into it right now. But I ended up picking up Star Wars High Republic, and I actually really, really enjoyed it. It was a really good story, and it makes me sad that there's a lot of people that couldn't get into it, because it's the first appearance of like 20 different people in that book, and there might be a show coming out, and this character might be featured, and blah, blah, blah. And like, it makes me sad, because I think that it's a genuinely really, really good story, and that's coming from me, who doesn't love Star Wars.
but you enjoy it and you want other people to enjoy it and you feel like they can't
Exactly.
because the spec market have grabbed it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that, if I can go ahead and just share, like, we're not a spec channel unless we're talking about speculating about what characters go down on other characters.
And slug butts.
And slug butts. I will speculate about slug butts all day.
100%. But that's our hot take for the evening.
Yeah.
Did not mean for this to go into a hot take rant, but it's one of those things where, I mean, we've been doing this for a while now. We've been doing this for almost a year, it seems.
I think it was November.
Not quite. Not quite.
November, so I think it's about 7 months now. Yeah.
Feels like it's been 8 years with Jen either way, but and I would do it for 100 more years. But we the spec market, man, it's gotten and it's run rampant, and I don't know if it's because people are bored during quarantine or what, but I just want to go back to loving comics and caring about comics and
talking to people
about comics instead of going up to a guy and be like, oh yeah, that was a great one, and they're like, yeah, I've never read it and I'm not going to, and I'm like, oh, okay then, to each their own. Have fun on your retirement, sir.
I just went ahead and looked. Did you know that we did our first Batman or Batwoman show together in September? And then our first show together, I think I'm taking a look here. It looks like it was in November. Yep.
November.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might go and sit down and watch our first show just to kind of see, kind of look back on the memories and see if we were scared little babies to talk to each other and share our feelings. And now we're talking about, does Batman eat the pussy? So,
yeah.
It's been a wonderful evolutionary ride. And of course, thank you to everybody who has supported us, if not from day one, just in general, 100%.
Started from the bottom. Now we're slightly above the bottom.
Slightly above the bottom. I would say we're moderately above the bottom.
Moderately above the bottom.
Moderately above the bottom.
Yeah. So I think that we're about, just over 2 hours. So I think that we've done a lot of things. I did want to show off this pin because it kind of like shocked Mars. Because I just want to say Happy Father's Day from
your Leather Daddy Thanos.
Leather Daddy Thanos. Shout out to Geeky and Kinky Pins because they've got some good ones. So yeah, shout out, Happy Father's Day from Leather Daddy Thanos. Mars, as always, thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. I hope everyone in the chat, everyone watching on the replay, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, you can find us here on Sundays. Sometimes it's Sunday morning, sometimes it's Sunday evening.
It's always Sunday Comic Church.
It's always Sunday. We've been referred to as Sunday Comic Church. So we're here for all of your needs. Nick's Kicks. Yeah, you missed.
You definitely missed it.
You're about 2 hours late. Sorry, friend. But we're here.
And we'll be on the replay.
Yeah, go back and hit the replay in a couple moments, or just like take the little slider bar and whoop. Thank you so much, friends, and we will see you next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.